Welcome back, y'all. In today's video, we have a Sony Venice, Atlas Orion Anamorphics, Segway, and lighting breakdowns. You'll want to stay to the end, so let's get into it. So I was brought on as a gaffer for this shoot, and right there pushing the cart is the DP Joey. He also brought some lighting and grip equipment. What you're looking at is the Atlas Orion Anamorphic lens. Look how beautiful it is. This is a 40 millimeter, and we actually have a 40, 65, and 100 millimeter on set. They retail for about $10,000 a piece. We have the Nucleus M wireless follow focus connected directly to a handle so the camera op can actually operate the follow focus. And then we have a Shogun 7 Connect up top. This is actually the Sony Venice version 1. It is an amazing camera. When it came to lighting, we had talent with varying skin tones. So sometimes we'd fill with a negative, we'd fill with an ultra bounce, or even introduce a light. We wanted our main key source to be bright and soft, and you see it right there. And then we come in with hair lights with the tubes accordingly, but we always had to be ready to change it up depending on who was going to be in front of camera, and that can be a challenge. If you look to the left here, you can see there's a tube light, and what that tube light is doing is actually adding some light to her leggings and her hair because we were losing a lot of definition there, and that helped kind of boost up those blacks. So this is Joey, the DP on the project. He actually brought me on as a gaffer. We were there to supplement an in-house team for the client, and they actually provided the cameras, the lenses, and a lot of other supporting equipment. Joey brought in some of his lighting, his grip, and his Dana dolly to kind of complete the project. So we were brought in to film as much content as we could pack into 2 days with as much variety as we could. So each shot we would bring in different models or different actors and actresses. So one time you had a light-skinned female, a dark-skinned male, and you just kind of mixed it up over and over again. And so that presented its own challenges. Sometimes we need to bring the light up a little more, bring the fill in a little more, and we had to be very dynamic and quick when doing it. But that's part of the job. You can see Joey right here standing on a crate just to get a little more height for a shot, going with the easy rig so he can get those handheld movements and adjust on the fly. We have a light boomed over, a hair light. Obviously we don't need the boom this crazy for this exact setup, but when we go to the Dana dolly and we're wider, we can really use it. And if you saw right there, we actually did lose the tube light at that moment. I let them finish out the shot. I didn't want to interrupt them, and then we moved in to change it out and put it actually on house power or change out the battery. I don't remember what we ended up doing. So you got to pay attention to stuff like that. These are Joey's carts that were actually inspired by my cart design that you saw in the last video I posted up. So he took some of my ideas and made them his own and built out some nice heavy duty carts that roll right into his Mercedes Sprinter, which is amazing. You can see he has flags on the side. He has crates. Over here has heavy grip with stands, but then he also has an innovative cart. Those two Godox lights aren't his, but these Aputure lights, they are his. So this is a 1200D going into a big 5-foot dome, then going into magic cloth, and that's our key source, and it did a really good job to give us some soft light and a good wrap. And if you see here, we actually have the diffusion out of it because we needed the output, and we left the dome on so we could control the light so we weren't getting crazy spill hitting the edges and everything. So that was really important to us. But you can see we're kind of taking over this space. And here is one of the shots. It looked really, really nice. We were getting some great effect. You could see we have the ultra bounce for Phil because he has a little darker complexion. And we were going for a more cinematic, moody look versus the very sterile, bright, flat corporate look. We kind of just wanted to take it to the next level, and that's what the client went for as well. That's why they hired Joey out, because he can take it to the next level over your normal corporate shooter that shoots everything very flat and just has that very commercial look to it. Here Joey's explaining to the client, We got to watch out for those highlights out there. We got to make sure we get the settings right. Look at this. We're blown out there. It's too much. So using false color is amazing on set. It's a great tool and you should be utilizing it all the time. This is Jason. Jason was running the second Sony Venice. You could see he has 100mm on there, and he was doing shots simultaneously and getting tights because, like I said, we were doing high volume. We wanted to get these shots. We didn't want to spend too much time trying to repeat the shots, getting it with the tighter. So we were shooting simultaneously a lot of the time, and here it is, the Segway shots. So Joey's running his Segway. Man, he's brave. That is a lot of money on his shoulder right there, but he's really good. What my role was, which that's me right there with glove in hand, my bandana that you always see me wearing, I'm guiding him and telling him he's clear, he's straight, we're good, keep coming back so he doesn't have to worry about hitting something. And this is a little test run we did, and I kind of want to give y'all a shot. He was actually focusing on me to see what it was going to look like. And these balls are for rehab purposes, and they wanted that captured, and someone hit the actual lens right then, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it ended up being really cool. Joey's really good on this thing, and he's real steady. And this is the last setup of the day. We have a tube light overhead creating a beautiful edge. If you see closely on his hair, you can see how nice it looks. And then we have our key light, which is actually a book light. It's a 6x magic cloth with a 6x ultra bounce and a 600D shooting into it. It's motivated by the outside. So we have windows, there's outside light coming in, and we're going to motivate that light. But we were missing something. We were lacking a little bit, and we came across this problem because a lot of the talent wore hoodies, shirts that were dark colors. So we brought in another tube to give that edge right there, and it just helped us bring up those blacks a little bit more, and it looked amazing. Well, got to show off the food. Corn-Fed Catering came to this shoot as well. They were actually on the podcast shoot that I posted up a few weeks back, and they always have a great variety of snacks. I mean, how could you go wrong with all this good stuff? You get fat like I am just being on set. It's a true story. And we have a cooler full of drinks. What more could you ask for? Day 2 is pretty exciting. You can see this machine. It flips you upside down, twists you around. It is really, really cool. We opened the door so we could actually film it a lot better. There's so much plastic in here from the plexiglass that was reflecting, or acrylic, whatever it was, that it was creating issues. So we were able to rig the system up and film it with it open. Everyone was a safe distance away, so it worked out. We do have Joey here on the slider running with a little bit of a wider shot, and then we have Jason on the tighter shots, so we are maximizing our shots. This is the tube light. It's an Aputure tube. It's a 4-foot, and we had 2 of them installed, and we decided to run one. And you can see here is a 1200D with a 6x or maybe a 4x muslin. So it was giving it a little warmer look. This was actually the recommendation of Joey, the DP. Is like, that's what I want to run to kind of be shooting through, giving us some nice light. And it ended up looking really good. So we have the 100mm on the tight, and I think possibly the 65. Yeah, it looks like the 65 running over there, and we could actually see the shot right here. It looks so cool. And we actually had talent in the background running on that zero gravity treadmill, so it made for some really cool shots because it's so dynamic and there's so much going on. It's real easy to make it look interesting and fun. This is the really cool thing. This is like a 360 image view. You harness yourself in and you use your feet kind of like a Segway to control like an airplane or whatever it may be that's on the screen, and the image changes and moves with you. And we have 2 tube lights, Aputure 4-footers, creating that blue look back there. This was another setup we did. We started getting a little overcast outside. We pounded 2 1200Ds. We're using cinefoil to cut them so we're not getting too much spill on that wall right there, that pillar. And that's an ultra bounce 4x frame that we actually connected to some of the drop down lighting that they had. So this is also in another room in an operatory with a frosted window, and it's creating an edge on them like we were doing with the tubes, so you can see that it's actually coming through, and that's what I'm showing off to you guys. It ended up looking really awesome. This was from the suggestion of Joey. He always wants to backlight them and make it look really nice, and he sees things that normally other shooters just don't think about. And you'll see here that we really had to be wide with our frame, which means we couldn't have stands floating around everywhere. So you see here, if we couldn't hide a stand anywhere in that area. So we're really wide with the frame. We're introducing some good backlighting that's hitting him. And you can see on the left side of that doctor right there, he's getting a great hit of light that looks motivated from the outside, but we couldn't put something right there in front of him because it would have fell flat, and we didn't want that. The talent's actually laughing because he's enjoying his free chiropractic work. The talent was always really happy, like, hey, keep doing it, you're doing a good job. Here's a little tube light we brought in to give us a little bit of a return depending on the subject. But here's the wild card. Right when we're set up, we're lighting, everything's good, they're like, oh god, whoa, that's Joey. You can see how great this looks. It looks amazing. We're shooting shadow side, and then they're like, well, what if we pull this up? No, we got to change the light again. That's not gonna work because we're not set up for that. We're set up for someone laying flat. So you get those issues all the time. This isn't a shot, but this was a setup that we did close to a shot. And I just wanted to show you how it looked. They were just actually chatting. That's Jason and one of the doctors chatting it up. But it just looked so good. Everything was just falling into place. Even with the quick schedule, we were able to get some great results with what we were working with. And here comes another great setup. We kept things very similar, added some tube lights, and we were able to move on to another shot and have two people interacting, one walking off camera, and it looked great. We didn't have to worry about stands in the shot, moving this, moving that. We kind of placed them where the light looked great, put in some tubes to make up the difference, and it was awesome. I really want to show you all these Orion Anamorphics. This is the 65. It's just so beautiful on the inside. These were killer. The images were amazing, and you can just tell it's like just awesome working with high-end cameras like this. I don't always get to work with stuff like this. I have an FX3 and two FX6s, and I don't have any lenses that are worth $10,000 a piece. But that's what's cool about production. You get to work with different people, you get to see different things, and you just get to learn so much. So thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.